Morning folks, this is Paul AAC. Well, the time's come. We need to do some upgrading, and one of our systems we've had for a long time, or should I say one of Connor's systems we've had for a long time, is this little RedSea Max Nano. This has been in a position now for must be 7 years, I suppose now. We've certainly had our money's worth out of this fantastic little system. I think we need a change, and what with the advent of the RedSea Max Peninsula, which has another 25 litres, we feel it's time to perhaps upgrade it. We've certainly had our money's worth out of this fantastic little tanks, never let us down. I mean, they do give you a fantastic entry-level priced aquarium with quality kit and equipment with it. And you know, one of the other things I suppose more of a focus these days on nanos, this is such an energy efficient aquarium. I think in the future we'll see a lot more what we call AIO systems, which basically means all-in-one systems. If you look at the skimmer and the auto top-up, and that's all in the back chamber, which makes them really fuel efficient, because we've not got to pump a return pump up from a cabinet or anything like that. So one of the things I'll probably do during this process of stripping this tank down and replacing with its new upgrade is perhaps talk about the wattage, because nowadays of course all of us are concerned about our electricity bills, including us, I can tell you. But this little tank, I believe, is probably one of the best aquariums on the market, and that's the Max Nano. It's still being sold, but I fancy that extra 25 litres at roughly the same wattage. We're going to use some new rock in it, Walt Smith man-made live rock, if you like, which is ocean grown, and I fancy putting that to the test. With no further ado, I suppose I better get cracking and start removing the animals. Quite an easy process actually. We've moved a lot of the animals into a vat temporarily. Connor's clowns, which he hates, that's another story, they've been moved into our soft coral display, and now the old Max Nano has been stripped down, ready for someone to collect. We've sort of promised this to someone who's getting into reefing for the first time, so it's going out the door free of charge. To say, very impressed. I mean, RedSea every generation seem to improve a lot of things. We've got something really, I never knew about this, but there are armoured sills all the way along the bottom. Here is a plastic covering, so if you ever had a bristleworm try and chew through the silicone, they'd have half a job doing that, because that's all plastic sealed. Likewise, this area here again is all armoured, so they've really gone to great lengths to armour and protect everything all the way round. It's all armoured, all up the sills. Obviously on the back sills you don't need to, because it's an all-in-one system. You've got like almost two sills to protect the back. But wow, first impressions already straight out the box, superb. I don't think you find many nano tanks as well with such thick glass, beautifully beveled along the edges. Have to say, I'm really impressed. What a box of goodies. I think we're going to start laying out some bits now. Something else worthy of note is in every RedSea aquarium you've always got a chance to extend your warranty as well, and it's a very simple process. You just scan your QR code and you're into the RedSea website, I believe, and then you can register your tank. There's all the kit laid out now. You can see the components. It's got The same skimmer, I believe, as what's in the RedSea Max Nano, as in the Peninsula. The skimmer, actually, I've always found to be really, really good. Again, you don't find very good quality skimmers in a lot of Nano tanks, and it's a big feature. Even if it doesn't skim as well as perhaps, say, your traditional sump mounted skimmers, of course the level of oxygenation that this skimmer provides for such a small space is imperative. Usual scenario, you've got your stock pump, stock return pump, and of course we've got the favourite, we've got the LED 50, which is by RedSea, which I've found to be fantastic, and the colour rendition on the corals has been really something. A little bit of carbon, and also the biofoams. Now, I don't always use the biofoams that come in with these, I just feel a little bit restricting, but we'll probably set it up with the foams initially, but once we know it's fully cycled and fully mature, we'll probably take it out. And as we're using live rock or cultured live rock in this, biological activity will come from the rock and potentially the sand. But of course, if you're setting this up as, say, a fish only quarantine, then of course make sure you do use the stock foam that's with it. But yeah, look at that for a whole load of kit. I mean, it's such good value. I mean, we'll just pick up one pump there just to see what the wattage rating is on it. Oh, I can't really read that. How many watts is that, Dan?
7.5.
7.5 watts. I mean, that is not going to drain your electricity bill, is it? 7.5 watts. And if you think on the, we've got this skimmer pump as well here now. That is, Dan, I can't see.
16 watts.
16. So we're only up to, what, 23 watts there. And then we've got the LED 50, which I can only assume, I'm guessing,
50 watts.
Is 50 watts. And of course, most of us don't run our power non-stop. So basically, this tank, bar its heater, is only burning, what's the total of that there, Dan? I've lost count there.
100 watts.
Yeah, it's under 100 watts, which is phenomenal. I mean, it's such a low energy aquarium. I know many of you worrying about your electricity bills. This really isn't going to eat into anything. I mean, it's very, very low wattage. Of course, if you've got the tank in a very, very cold room, yeah, then you're going to see your heater stat come on, but most of you are going to be heating your home somewhere between 18 and 22 degrees during winter. So, you know, the heater's only going to be kicking in here and there. I would guess a 150 watt heater will do. That's the one thing that isn't provided by RedSea. There are, of course, fantastic instructions. There's the operation manual there. There's a secondary user manual there. And again, there's a registration encouraging you to register. Always worth doing. In true Paul style, I'm going to probably wing it and probably not read the instructions, but I have to try and encourage you to read the instructions, which they do look very comprehensive, and again it will tell you all various different parts or way to put the kit together. No doubt I'll cock something up without using the instructions, but here we go. So we lied. In the end, we had to give in and use something called instructions. Now setting up the Reef LED 50, I have to say it's an absolute dream. If you've ever set up a RedSea light, it's so damn simple, it's unreal. Just going through a schedule now. Lighting is set up, so we'll be looking to fill this shortly and maybe do a little bit of aquascaping as much as I can do with a bit of live rock, but we'll give it a go. As it's a peninsula, I suppose we're going to have to sort of decorate it more central, but I'm really looking forward to setting up this little tank. I absolutely love it, but yeah, really looking forward now to starting getting the rocks in and getting some water in. So we've now put the scape in. We've tried to keep a nice open structure, plenty of swim throughs. We're using the Fiji 2.0 aquacultured live rock. This is a man-made live rock. So in other words, what that means is it's a rock that's been put together by hand using cement and natural aragonite, and then it's been left in the sea for a number of years for it to start to produce all of those beneficial bacteria and little elements of coralline algae. There's a few sort of shells and things like that on it as well, some of which were previously live. I've just used a bit of the DD Aquascape putty, which many of you will be familiar with if you're coral fragging or sticking corals to rocks, with the intention that of course over time that will all blend in and go purple. So we're now going to find some sand and fill it with some seawater, but all is coming together really, really fast. I mean, you know, the nice thing with this new type of rock, which has these lovely arches and shapes, it wasn't really any real art to put this rock in, so can't sing the praises enough. The latest Walt Smith 2.0 live rock, aquacultured live rock, is definitely, I think, one of the ways forward. You know, probably will stall it on the fish initially, might use a little bit of mature seawater as well just to kick start it off. Some new, some old. Okay, right, choice of sand. We've decided to use an old favourite of mine, which is the RedSea Fiji Pink. I don't know why they really call it Fiji Pink. There's only tiny little elements of pink in it, but one of the things I like about this sand is it has a lot of enriched mineral content to it, and of course being live, although, you know, partially live I would always call it, it should help kickstart the system off nice. No doubt there'll be a lot of sand blowing around for a bit because it is quite fine, but certainly I've found in the past this to be a pretty good product. This is the £20 bag. We'll see how much of it we use in case you're in the process of setting up your RedSea Max Peninsula, but I'm anticipating by looking that we're going to use quite a large portion of it. You know, there's a lot of space on the bottom here. I want to try and aim for you know, a sort of 20mm thickness really, in case we decide to use some pistol shrimps. So we want some sort of level of substrate, and of course the sand will add some bioavailable security for the bacteria that we wish to develop. Sand in, we did end up using that whole £20 bag. As you can see, it's not too much by any means of the imagination. So top tip, £20 bag of RedSea Fiji Pink does a RedSea Max Peninsula very, very well. Yay! In goes the water. Always get excited when you're filling up a new aquarium. As I predicted, extremely cloudy on the fill up, but I'm not worried about it. Anyone who's filled an aquarium up for the marine aquarium up for the first time, has used sand or live sand, will see this. So don't panic. There we go. There's our snow glow for tonight. So we'll come back in tomorrow morning and hopefully it would have cleared a little bit more. We just left it running with the return pump only. Pointless putting the heater on. A lot of newbies, they'll plug the heater in straight away. Well, if you do that on cold seawater, you're just burning unnecessary watts. Just not worth it at all. Just let it come up to room temperature before plugging your heater in. So we'll leave it to come up to room temperature, and then in the morning we'll plug the rest of the stuff in, start bedding the skimmer in, and go from there. Hi folks, well, this is the morning after, and as you can see the tank has cleared fantastically, actually, more than I thought it would do. I think that's probably because of the live rock that's used, or the cultured live rock should I say. The clarity anyway is amazing considering it was only set up yesterday. Obviously still got a way to go yet, but this morning we've now turned the heater on, and we had to reposition the skimmer. A little schoolboy error there where I didn't read any instructions. We had the skimmer around the wrong way, so that's worthy of note. So you know, when you're putting your RedSea Max Peninsula skimmer together, just here in front of it is the water level adjustment. I don't know if you can see that there. There's like a little plate that you can lift up to adjust the height. Well, at the moment we're just bedding the skimmer in. We're not trying to skim, remember. We're literally just bedding it in. If you don't know what bedding in means, it basically means that when you first plug in a skimmer, it will always misbehave. It will produce far too much air, or the air bubbles won't be, how can I put it, sort of heavy, which means that they'll spew out into the system. So don't let that ever bother you. You know, it can take up to a week, maybe even 10 days before a skimmer has its biological microfilms or bacterial microfilms start to develop, making the surface a little bit more sort of sticky, if you like. Very, very pleased. I will do some basic water checks. Now, if you were using dead rock, I would use the RedSea, I think it's called Sea Mature. Let's have a look at it. I've forgotten the name of it, but that's because of my age. Let's have a little look. Well, first of all, of course, it is worth considering as well using the marine test kit for ammonia, nitrate, but I'm looking for this. There it is there. See that there? It's called the starter kit or reef mature kit. Now, if you was using dead rock, you really ought to use something like that. There's lots of live bacterial products as well, of course, on the market, like Colony, if you want to take that stance on it. But if you want to do it slowly and do it, you know, more methodically, with patience, which patience always pays off, then using the RedSea Mature kit is definitely the way forwards. That will contain enough sort of bacteria and no pox and coralline grow as well inside. It's a very good value for money kit. I think, how much is that? That is $25.99, and that contains a good 4 products, I think, inside that. However, because we've used a little bit of live sand, and also because we have used some mature seawater, we use the RedSea Blue bucket. But what we've done is we've actually used a little bit of the older seawater from the old Nano, which will of course have some free swimming bacteria in it, and we've used some new seawater as well in it. But yeah, we rate the RedSea Blue bucket salt for a nice sort of stable, natural condition seawater, and not too high a calcium level, which is really what the rock would have come from. You know, ocean grown rock or animals would be living in that sort of flat seawater mix, very, very much like Blue bucket. Anyway, that's where we are now. Providing we have no ammonia or nitrate, when I'm not expecting any, we'll probably plant a few soft corals straight away. We'll leave the fish, but the soft corals can pretty much go in straight away. But I wouldn't recommend putting any crustaceans or fish in at this early stage. So no doubt there'll be a part 2. There we are, very, very happy, very, very pretty. Looks really good in the shop. It's just as you walk in now. You'll see it as you walk in through the door. But absolutely smashing aquarium, and not just saying it, although I'm a RedSea dealer and it will always sound a bit biased, but you know, this is probably one of my most favourite aquariums I've ever set up, especially for the money. You know, these are retailing, I think it's, what was it, Ange, retail on these? $7.99, so basically £100 more than the Max Nano, but you're getting an extra 25 litres, so it only works out about £4 a litre more. And in this day and age with glass costs, I mean, that is really, I can't imagine RedSea are making much out of that. But fantastic aquarium. We've set up our own lighting program. We might send that on to RedSea at some stage, but we believe we've cracked it on our lighting program that we use, which is a slightly shorter photo period. It's not as long as perhaps some of the other RedSea programs, and certainly on startup you definitely won't want to be cracking those watts up. So this is running, I believe, at about a 60-30 mix of white, but only I think it's about 30% overall. But there we go. Hope you enjoy watching this, and subscribe. Chat soon.